All right, y'all, today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check it out, its local search, check out its city search, see if it's got BSS. So we're back here at the GBC universe, so we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, video on the homepage, wherever. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Now, way over on the left, we got our highest intent people. These are our, Google and social searchers. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot, like in their city right now. So it's the highest intent peeps. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We got to reach them through interruption marketing, through, Facebook, Instagram. So people are not searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and nearly all of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So we talk about that actually on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And we talk about BLCS over there, and currently we only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But over here, we're all about the BSS, so let's see what that's about. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're dead, kind of out of the water. That means we're on page 2 or deeper. And as a result, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is the bulk of the market, no bueno. And 1 slot on page 1 Google is not good either, because we're looking like everyone else. We're basically invisible. Everyone else has got 1 slot, and there's 10 organic slots there. So that means basically 9 other boudoir photographers. So what's a buyer going to do? They're, approximately 80% of buyers. They're going to be just clicking down, opening the link to everyone's, to literally everyone's business, boudoir photography website, contacting everyone, submitting the contact form, getting a quote, price shopping, price hunting, comparing, negotiating, killing all our margins, and killing our business. So BSS, we do not know that. We do not want that. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Yeah, as people kind of, people just eventually get new gear, get new iPhones, get new cameras, then they're throwing up the Google Maps profiles and they shoot boudoir now. They're creating their websites and they shoot boudoir now, competing with us for page 1 Google search dominance. They are increasing, or, I was posting in the mom groups and Facebooks and they now shoot boudoir. So it's just more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, making it harder for every other boudoir photographer to get clients. Now, the second part here is new. That's the false belief of page 1 equality. So it's kind of automatically accepted with boudoir photographers, where it's kind of like, assuming or accepting every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 of Google, and, that's how it is. You got to accept it, blah, blah, blah. And maybe we had a lower page 1 slot on page 1 of Google, and then new boudoir photographer came in, their website ranked higher, and then we are, now we're pushed to page 2. So it's like, well, that's simply the way things are. Hopefully that person deletes their website so it stops indexing on Google, and Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But actually this line of thinking is incorrect, because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology, which we'll get to in like 2 more pictures. But what it tells us is we got to break through this mindset or this false belief of page 1 equality, because it's not true. Google will actually literally give as many page 1 slots as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. And again, I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, so if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, approximately 80% of the market's never even seen us. Yeah, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're still basically invisible. We're looking like everyone else, no differentiation. We're getting price shopped, getting killed. Our margins are getting killed. I mean, we're wasting our time talking to all these people, and we're disappearing boudoir photographer in that case again. And in both cases, this is like a warning light, kind of a raising the red flag that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. But finally, we have a solution. We finally got a solution here. We have, after investigating and testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. It's what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, in only 10 days. And interesting thing about this is the only strategy or methodology I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence, still grow in the presence of massive market saturation, and have it, be able to happen relatively quickly. The only other option is to have a strong, massively known brand, which takes 5 to 10 years, which does not satisfy the relatively quickly requirement because we no longer have any time. AI is here taking people's jobs. We got to dominate our city ASAP. We don't have time to build a 5 to 10-year brand. But interestingly enough, using S-cube methodology, by my estimate, probably 8x the speed of building a brand. And imagine if you use an S-cube methodology with a super well-known brand, basically undefeatable. So how does this strategy work? I mean, it's exactly as the name says, social search saturation, saturating social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. The snow is melting back there. They're in South America, and it's running off. You got small streams, small rivers. They all run off. They all collect into the Amazon River. So the Amazon River is page 1 of Google, but where everything starts, all our inputs need to happen is utilizing S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And, kind of an interesting example here is let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're one of them. Everyone's competing. Everyone's got their boudoir website trying to rank page 1 on Google. And we're like, all right, for us to compete, we gotta stop our potential buyers from even seeing any of our competitors. We gotta crank up S-cube methodology to the max. So let's say we are increasing, let's say we take over the first 300 slots across social search, across all the social platforms, and then that bleeds onto page 1 on Google. We got the first 300 organic slots on Google. Now it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, which means we're taking over the first 30 pages, and if approximately 80% of people ain't even going from page 1 to page 2, basically ain't nobody going from page 1 to page 3. Actually, they have to go to page 31 to essentially find one of our competitors. So if we're essentially on what peeps can find when they search on social media, when they search on Google, whose business will still be growing? Ours. Whose business will be shrinking? Well, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers will be shrinking. And as a result, S-cube methodology has allowed our business to continue to grow, even in a super saturated market, even with having no brand. But this actually helps us get a brand by my estimate 8x faster. So this is the magic of S-cube methodology for boudoir photographers. Next, once you're with S-cube methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So they go to page 2 or deeper. Approximately 80% of buyers never even see them because approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends us to get 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because when we're compared against everyone else with 1 slot, we dominate them. And super, super rare, but someone could have 2 slots. But if we got 3, we dominate them as well. So we're basically dominating in nearly all scenarios. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our final mini micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But now we know it's false. We can utilize our solution. Now we know the solution is S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results utilizing S-cube methodology, real quick here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I actually went to, I straight up used S-cube methodology. And let's look at the organic. So I started with 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google. Let's see, I got organic slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So as a result, in 10 days, we went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, for the search term I want to rank for. And these are my results utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now, main event here, we're going to take a look at this Boudoir photography business, see if they got BSS for either their local search or their city search, and see what's going on. So we're going to Carefree, Arizona, and Fear in Phoenix, Arizona. Carefree, Arizona. All right. Boom, we got one. And let's see. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And boom, we got 4. All right, so we got 4 out of 10 for local. Awesome. Let's go to city, Phoenix. Way harder to rank here in Phoenix. Let's see, we got, because it's a much larger area, way more competitors. Let's see. All right, we're at 0 out of 10. All right, so for city, or for local, we're at 4 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. And so we do not have BSS. We've hit the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. That's good. So dominating local here. City, we got 0 out of 10. So we do have BSS. So we're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search, and basically we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. You're just a Boudoir photographer, and you've done the local search for yourself with a high intent with buyer keywords, and you have also done the same for the city search, and you've had BSS for one or both those searches, or you've not hit the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 page 1 Google searches for one or both of those searches, and you've accepted and you know and you see now that the false belief of page 1 quality is exactly that false. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 links to us as possible as we want to take, and so you're saying, that's exactly what I'm looking for. S-cubed methodology is my only way forward. You're liking the initial benefit, one of the initial benefits, which is more slots page 1 on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords. Liking the second initial benefit, which is which is kicking more competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. So making them disappear and eventually making them go out of business. And you're also liking, you're understanding the market saturation. People get new gear, over time, more boudoir photographers enter. This market slowly gets more and more saturated. But now you're looking ahead and you're saying, wow, AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're seeing that and you're like, okay, actually there's going to be a larger and larger flood of people coming in to be boudoir photographers as AI takes more people's jobs. So you're thinking ahead and you're like, all right, I got to fortify my position on page 1. Can't simply dominate. I got to fortify it. I got to have like so many backup links that Google wants to rank on page 1, but we only got 10 slots, so like Google literally cannot rank all my links there. And I need to do that so that current boudoir photographers can no longer rank on page 1, and also guarantee future boudoir photographers that come in from AI taking their jobs will also no longer be able to rank on page 1. And you're saying S-cubed methodology is the only solution to deliver that as well. And you're liking the future benefits, kind of longer term, which are, kind of the longer, every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology. What we're actually doing is we are increasing the probability that, we're kind of building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, our business name, our website, our social handles, out in like the invisible AI mindshare space. So we're kind of, putting these columns like like the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or like spokes, on our bike tire going to the central hub, which is our brand. We're putting all these spokes or columns attached to us. And what this does is this increases the probability that we show up here, AI overview, right at the top, the most premium placement. We cannot buy this AI overview with Google PPC ads. So every day we successfully execute this, we increase the probability we're shown here in premium placement, no ad cost, and guarantees our competitors does not get it. And also, since we're building up this AI mindshare, we increase the probability AI search services recommend us as well. So we're talking ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute methodology. We're actually building these invisible thematic keywords on our around our brand. And as a result, we're increasing the probability every single day AI search recommends us when someone's looking for a boudoir photographer in their city through AI search app. And yeah, Google right now is still approximately 9% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day. Last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, it was gave me 3. And I actually went to like Google for those searches, and dude, I found like 60. Like, dude, if AI's only recommended 3, we need to get onto those 3 by any means possible. And I believe studying this, understanding it, that it's this back end AI mindshare. Gotta build momentum into it. Frequency, repetition, relevance, authority, age. These all factor in, kind of all weighted on the AI search backend. And the final thing you're thinking about, yeah, can build a brand, estimated 8x faster. And also, you understand, my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be a first mover because you want to box out your competitors, ensure that they don't get access to this, and then you can actually essentially guarantee a massive gap between you and your current boudoir photographers and any future boudoir photographers that will be coming from AI taking people's jobs. And as a result, build a massive back-end AI mindshare momentum for showing up the highest probability with AI search. And you also understand the converse, which is if a competing boudoir photographer, jumps on this before you, then we'd be building that momentum, getting all those benefits for them. You'd have a higher chance getting kicked off page 1 of Google, going on to page 2 to deeper pages, losing. You're becoming a disappearing boudoir photographer, or more disappearing if you currently are already there, and actually slowing, basically on the path to the boudoir photography business disappearing. Plus, you'll be building up this massive back-end AI mind share for search momentum with your competitor. And so what you'd have to do is you'd have to go rederive, or actually derive for the first time, S-cubed methodology. And you would never actually truly know if you derived it correctly. Then you'd have to go and execute on S-cubed methodology every single day. And when you do all that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor continuously building every single day. So you'd actually have to double or triple our S-cubed methodology output every single day to close that gap, pull the AI mindshare momentum away from me and your competitor and towards you for the back-end AI mindshare for higher probability of recommendations in AI search. And you would never feel 100% confident even executing an S-cubed methodology because you would not know if you derived it correctly. So you probably actually wouldn't put in the time to execute double or triple. And double or triple may take, dude, it might take like 80 hours a day. Like, who literally has time to do for 80 hours a day? Ain't nobody got that time. So after understanding all that, you've decided, screw that. I've decided to be a first mover. I'm going to be the first one to use S-cubed methodology in my city. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is closed for new patient intake at the moment. So even if you wanted to work with me, you cannot. But when I open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for using our S-cubed methodology.